Hello, today is 30th of May 2022. I decided to do a video on conjunctions with Saturn because obviously all the most of the comments that I get from people is just like really surrender into Saturn and just thinking that it's like, well, surrender into the chart full stop, because like, how is this going to be, how my marriage is going to be. Listen guys, I really can't answer those things because it really is down to you as an individual and how you live your life. You have free will. 20 to 30% of your life is you create that. If you're constantly fearful, fear equals bad energy, negative energy, boundaries, limits, lack. You're not going to create anything. Human beings, humankind, remember we are kind and we're here to help each other out. And as much as I can, you know, these are supposed to be informative videos so you can empower yourself. This is what we use astrology for. If you're using astrology to take that power away from yourself, what you're doing, you're restricting yourself even more. So you're doubling up on that Saturn. In fact, you're giving yourself more of a debilitated Saturn in a sense, because what you're doing, you're just thinking, I have no power. You have plenty of power, believe me. We are made of frequency. We can make things happen. This is why we are creative. Human beings are creative. Anyway, so I've got loads of videos on what Saturn is. You can just, you know, I might put some links below, but generally speaking, here is a little sort of intro on what Saturn is. So Saturn is our boundaries, our limits, discipline, and where in our chart we're actually paying off our karma. This is what we've chosen to do. This is almost like going to imagine, you know, this is what you want to do. This is like you've chosen this lifetime to do this. And don't worry, we've got loads and loads of lifetimes. We don't need to just like try and cram everything into one. But if you can cram things into one lifetime, do all the positive things. So where Saturn is, that is probably where it's aspecting, you know, obviously these are going to be like mega, but also aspects 3 houses away from itself and also 10 houses away from itself too. And I actually take that 10 spaces from 10 houses from Saturn as being quite a big one. So, but generally speaking, Saturn is important. Saturn is your, shows you your weaknesses, where you're shy, where you got like, you're blocking yourself, where you got to show humanity, humility, and remove your ego away from it. So where you don't feel good enough and you have to consciously work at it. So as I said, this is very, very, this is basically what we have to work on. And what would be the point of being on this earth if we have nothing to work on? So this is the start point of it. Saturn is obviously rules Capricorn and Aquarius. It's very, very strong in both. It's probably a little bit more autocratic and quite disciplined and unforgiving when it's in Capricorn. So we find people who actually have that in their natal chart, they are really hard on themselves, really hard. And we've all also suffered with that just recently, because we had that in Capricorn for just over 2 years since 2020, January 24th. It's just recently on 30th of April gone into Aquarius, but it is going to retrograde back into Capricorn again. But luckily it's going to be retrograde for most of it, obviously, until it goes direct. So, but without Saturn and the discipline of Saturn, you achieve nothing in life. That is what you've got to tell yourself. You know, if everything was hunky-dory and Jupiterian, idealistic, you have nothing at all. You just literally live on hope and optimism, being idealistic. So this is where we get the foundation, and we build from the ground up. So we get really solid foundations with the help of Saturn. There are also big learning curves for us with Saturn, where obviously we have our Sagittarius, where Saturn will be for just over about 2.5 years before the sign your moon is in, 2.5 years over your moon sign, and then 2.5 years after. So there are major changes in your life during that time. Again, don't fear it. I'll tell you, I have just come out of that, and it was really actually the best time of my life. And when I look back, my first Saturn return, that was when I started my business. So it just literally elevates you. If you go with it, if you put the hard work in, you're sure to get the results. And also when so that was Sagittarius, and there's a Saturn return as well. So where Saturn is like returns to where it is in your natal chart in transit, it arrives back on there where it was when you were born, and that will be yours again. That could be quite a pivotal time in your life. So it's very important to just like really harness that energy that's given you to just like go for life and achieve where and normally gives you quite a lot of success. People have got really good work at Saturn, and because Saturn is also the planet that gives you a lot more as you get older, at the time when you don't want to be having a lot of hardship and difficulties. So it's really supportive of life anyway in that sense. Saturn rules, as I said, Capricorn and Aquarius. Aquarius is like multiconus sign for Saturn. So this is where Saturn is really strong, but in a more freedom-loving, humanitarian way. And it's also debilitated in Aries, and it's exalted in Libra because it's a sign of working with other people. Saturn is committed to other people. It's not like about me, myself, and I. It's very much about us collectively. And this is the reason why it's so strong in Aquarius. And just turn this up. So yeah, so this and Saturn is arch enemy to the Sun first, the Moon, and it's also enemies to Mars. It's neutral with Jupiter, friendly with Venus. Venus is Saturn's best friend, because between them they bring commitment, bring family together, you work together, and then you gain from it. It is just commitment to yourself, to paying off your karma, and having other people in mind too, and also being committed to your partnerships and relationships and marriage. It's also friendly with Mercury. It works quite well with K2. It's not friendly with Rahu, because Rahu is all about gain and smoking mirrors, and you know, so it's a bit trickster, and Saturn doesn't like that. So Saturn is much more dignified as a planet in nature. Right, so I'm going to stop this now and come back, and we do Saturn conjunction starting with the Sun. Okay, so this video is about Saturn and Mercury conjunction. I've already done the Saturn indication, so let's look at what Mercury is indicative of. This is planet of speech, planet that rules respiratory and nervous system, allergies, skin, and it's all about hobbies, interests, what we can make, friends, talents, how we express ourselves, how we plan and organize yourself, planet of practicality, and also intellectual planet. And so now what happens is sitting with Saturn. So they're actually friendly towards each other. And in natural zodiac, Mercury rules Upachara houses because it's a young planet, so it gets better with time. So third and sixth house for all of us, Mercury, wherever it is, there is a little bit of that just generally with time, patience is going to get better. Now it's sitting with planet of patience. It's really have to really be patient. And so, but they're friendly towards each other, so that kind of help each other. Although Saturn does well with it because Saturn is sitting next to a benefic, and poor Mercury is feeling like probably is all sort of nervous about sitting next to a planet that's just, it's all about limitations. You have to wait. So, but anyway, so obviously there's going to be any speech issue because it's going to delay everything. So you have to be patient. So speech, they can speak a bit later. And this will happen also, even if it's not sitting with Saturn, sitting in Saturn's sign. And they just find it really difficult to express themselves. This speech issue can be like speaking issues, communication issues, and they could also have things like they can stammer or stutter. They can blush profusely because it's your nervous system coming into effect there as well. You know, but when particularly around people who are a bit older than them, they just can feel a little bit overwhelmed. The elderly or anything like that, anybody in older than them, literally. And also because it's sitting, planet of speech sitting with a malefic can actually give you Tourette's as well, or person can curse. And so what happens is there's obviously a shyness about the person too. You know, they can't express themselves. When they, you know, those opportunities when somebody can be really witty and say things as it is, really, it will just like be difficult. Although actually, having said that, if Mercury is sitting in Virgo, for example, and Saturn is sitting with it in Virgo, it could give you that black humor, you know, dark humor. So they can be witty in that case, but again, it'll come out a little bit later. But just generally, there's a shyness about it. Everything that they do better if they do it. They can't rush things. They have to do things practically. They have to plan well, organize things, and then execute it and use their intellect for it as well. They have to really breathe properly. So meditation and breath work is the key for this, to stop that stammering, the speaking issues, things like that. And I definitely say for these people to, my usual thing is like put YouTube on with a song that you really love, make yourself look good as well, dress up and get a hairbrush and start, you know, put the lyrics on as well, just sing the song too, you know, and just really practice your opening your heart, your throat chakra, so you can really get that muscle working. That's what it is. That muscle is actually being, you know, kind of pushed down by Saturn. So you need to activate it really. And so with time, this gets better. So you just join a singing group, get expressive, write, and read it out loud. You know, just, you know, mantras will also help you achieve that too. They're also quite shy around their friends and they can't really express themselves very well. So actually starting relationships of any form will be difficult for them because they just can't. They just feel like they blush, or they lose the words, or they can't say what they should say at the right time. And so there could be a lot of misinterpretation of their expression, if you like. So people can be lost in translation, as they say. But with time, when you're working at it, you can actually really strengthen your Mercury and get the best out of it, because after all, these two are friendly towards each other. And I think for me, Mercury is the multitasker, multi-talented, multifaceted planet. So if you work at making it strong, you can become really, really, you can really succeed, because this is planet of today, of really grasping the thing. Is planet of commerce, interaction, communication, travel, you know, so you can do so well through it. So really, really explore all forms of self-expression, whether it's what do they call that? That's like amateur dramatics, singing groups, choirs. Just really explore this, travel, and doing vlogs and videos and things. Just really express yourself the best ways you can. And, you know, Saturn will help you with that, because after all, in the natural zodiac, one rules the 6th house, the other one rules the 10th house. So they could be really good medics, really good at working and healing people. And that's how they will gain. But it will take them a long time, because all houses that these two planets rule, they are all Upacara houses. They get better with time. They just have to be patient. And Saturn really, really brings that patience in for them. So let's have a look at the ascendants. Okay, so for Aries ascendant, as we said, 10th, 11th, 3rd, and 6th house ruler coming. So they can be self-employed. They can start their career working for somebody in service or something. But generally speaking, they could then become very working for themselves through self-effort. So they could be accountants. They could work in stock, because 3rd house, Mercury rules 3rd house Gemini. Gemini is all about stock exchange, money, currency, banks. 11th house is banks. Work in banking, as I said, bit money, economics, or they could work as a doctor, as a healer. They could also be like if Mars is in good condition, they could be a surgeon, but definitely a doctor or nurse, healing, and they could also be a teacher, work for a government job, something like that too. So it's all about like gets better with time. They can gain quite well, but it will be later. But they're very service oriented, so they really feel how other people are, and at their work they'll have really good bedside manner. But if they're working with the elderly or in any job that they do, they're really good at listening to people, and very service oriented people, really good at giving karmas right off karma, really. Okay, Taurus ascendant for them is 2nd and 5th house ruler and your Karaka planet coming together. So this is going to be pretty amazing. It does do quite a lot of obviously 10th house ruler, 2nd house ruler, 5th house ruler, 9th house ruler trines, an angle, and also house of money coming together. So through like work and creative things, literally they can do really, really well, travel, broaden their horizons. Their work will be enjoyable to them because 5th house comes into effect, 9th house of happiness also. So yeah, they could do lots of different types of jobs, and they could gain quite well through that too, make good money, good savings. And they could also obviously make great advisors because 9th and 5th house ruler come together as well. Wonderful counselors. Okay, and teachers too. Okay, next ascendant. So this is Gemini ascendant for you. This brings 1st and 4th house ruler and 8th and 9th house ruler together. So it brings together like this. It will be like Dan and Raj Yoga's creating. They could, happiness and all of that is very much involved in the 9th house. Is also a house of obviously happiness and luck, and dad and mom and dad are in this 4th house and 9th house. And so there could be sudden changes with the parents, some changes in health and themselves too. But it's generally speaking, it'll be quite good because they probably are quite close to their family, unless if it goes into 6th house or something like that. But obviously you've got to just check that the health of the parents is okay, but it could bring a quite close family unit together. And it's obviously going to be good for car, and they probably like a car that's quite traditional, or a house that's quite traditional, very like they're into antiques because Saturn is old things, and quite what they will be, they'll be quite high value assets in that case. And they hold on to family, like things from mum and dad, which are like quite precious. Here we go again. Okay, so for Cancer ascendant, this brings together Saturn, which is 7th and 8th house ruler. Oh, it didn't go there, did I? 1 second. Okay, yeah, 7th and 8th house ruler, and Mercury, which is 3rd and 12th house ruler. Now, actually, Mercury is not a very good planet for Cancer ascendants, communication issues there, and it's also rules 12th house. And for them, it's Saturn rules 7th and 8th house. So brings together 8th and 12th house together. So it could be through losses and sudden changes and difficulties in life, even addictions, then they can actually turn their life around. They could find maybe a spouse that they really helps them change that, or they help their partner to do that. But there will be some difficulties, and then after, because third house is upachaya as well, and the Vipratraj yoga that 8th and 12th house ruler bring together, then that could actually, after that, things can get much better. But it can also show that a relationship issue, that in relationships and partnerships they can't actually express themselves, and that's how it could create a divorce or loss of that relationship. Leo ascendant. So Leo ascendant for you, Saturn rules 6th and 7th house, and Mercury 2nd and 11th house ruler. So obviously Mercury, very good planet, creates money for you, wealth and gains and savings. Then you have Saturn, which is 6th and 7th house ruler. So what we'll see, that there could be like a litigation issue there. There could be discord with a family or elder sibling, 11th house ruler. They could also have, they gain money, but they also create debts too, or marriage can create debt for them. So, or they end up actually, their savings go on family discord, family issues. Okay, let's go back to next ascendant, Virgo ascendant. So for Virgo ascendant, obviously Mercury is a really good planet, 1st and 10th house ruler, and then Saturn 5th and 6th house ruler. These people are natural teachers, advisors. They literally are. They can create a job teaching and really be of service to other people. They could be medics, they could be working for the government, they could be working as teachers, lecturers, that kind of thing. Yeah, so it's very about service. Maybe they actually are pediatricians, or work with children with mental health issues, adolescents, like that. Yeah, so again, it's a very service oriented thing, but because obviously 6 houses involved in this, there's going to be some issues there, unless if they are working in service industry. But generally their success will come later in life, because the delays in the recognition that they get at work, and there will be some issues. Having children will create some debt. They could actually, there will be some discord and obstacles in the way, but it's upachaya house, 6th house, so things will improve with time. Next ascendant, Libra ascendant, Yoga Karaka, 4th and 5th house ruler Saturn. When it comes together with 9th and 12th house, so 12th house ruler also does not spoil any yoga. So this is very nice. 9th house ruler with 4th house ruler, 9th house and 5th house, 4th house ruler together creates lovely things. There could be also like a property abroad. They could have a child abroad. They could literally, family could be a very close-knit unit where there's a lot of respect between the younger people and elder people. Home is where the heart is really with these people. They like to enjoy life with their family, very committed to them, and they're all very friendly and have each other's back. Really nice. It creates really nice yogas for education, for children, for happiness, and because obviously 4th house ruler is also basically Saturn rules the 4th house, so it's it'll give you a happy heart, because it's sitting with Mercury. Mercury is a nice soft planet, so it will help happiness of mother as well. And so it's all good in that sense. A very jovial family really, a very close-knit family. Okay, Scorpio ascendant, we have Saturn rules 3rd and 4th house. So you know that there's upachaya house involved there on an angle. And then we have Mercury that rules 8th and 11th house. So Mercury rules an upachaya house too. 8th house, obviously, house of changes. So there could be changes in their home quite often, moving quite a lot, because 3rd house is involved too. and gaining through homes, redeveloping property and land, and gaining through that, gaining through mothers, gaining land through mum or elder sibling, both of you earning through land from mother, something like that. But there will be some difficulties there, but it gets better with time. And yeah, so it's good in the sense that the two planets are friendly towards each other, even though they're not really easy for Mars being the ruler of Scorpio. But with time and patience, things will just get better, absolutely. But obviously, realizing that what will happen is Saturn is a malefic. When it's sitting with Mercury, it can give issues with elder sibling too, and their situation. So there's up and down, a lot of up and down in the home, a lot of communication breakdowns and things like that with mother, elder sibling, and friends, things like that. Communications will be a bit of an issue, but with time, it does get better. Okay, then we got Sagittarius for you. Saturn rules 2nd and 3rd house. Mercury rules 7th and 10th house. So this will be like a situation where Saturn is like rules 3rd house, which is a house of effort, Upachaya house that gets better, house of communications. Now it's sitting with 7th and 10th house ruler. So you know that you make money, by putting effort in, learning skills. You could be working with your family. A family business can go ahead, or you work with your partner, or there's a partnership going on in the family, or you with your sibling. But there would be some sort of work thing going on there, and you could actually be in communication business with your family. Okay, so then we have Saturn and Mercury for Capricorn ascendant. Capricorn, obviously, 1st and 2nd house are ruled by Saturn. Mercury rules 6th and 9th house, and therefore is going to spoil some of the yogas there. And you know that literally there's going to be some issues with money and savings, debts, things like that. It will be difficult to hold on to that, but maybe the dad has got like a litigation issue or health issue, and that kind of drains some of your resources and things like that. But it does get better with time, and you gain from it, because after all, it brings 9th and 2nd house rulers together, and 9th and 1st house rulers. So with time, this Upachaya, once it's worked through, then you start getting some fruits. But watch your father's health for sure. Okay, Aquarius ascendant, 12th house and 1st house ruler Saturn. When it's with Mercury rules 5th house and also 8th house. So this is going to be like 1st and 5th house ruler together, and the 8th and 12th house, they're both impressionable, so they don't actually spoil anything, but there could be sudden losses and changes and expenses that you didn't foresee. And so it's hospitalization or something like that you didn't really see. So look after your health, look after your child's health. Education can bring some expenses, sudden expenses that you didn't expect, or maybe even like some breaks in that too. Definitely be careful of any investments or things like that, because there could be some losses and expenses there. But that's definitely the case. So you just need to it's 12th house ruler and 5th house ruler coming together as well. So really just want to make sure that you look after your children's health and well-being too. Don't push them too hard, by just wanting them to be doing lots of different things after school. Just make sure that they're happy about that too. It's their karma, so we don't want to actually add bad karma to yourself because of pushing your kids and exhausting them, and then they end up being unhappy at heart, so you don't want to do that. Right, so Pisces ascendant, when we have Saturn and Mercury together, you have 4th and 7th house ruler with 11th and 12th house ruler together. So obviously Mercury rules nice angles, and they come together with 11th and 12th house rulers. So 11th house is Upachaya, and 12th house, there aren't that many, unless if they go into a really good house and create a really nice yoga. But generally speaking, there could be quite a lot of losses, with home, spend too much money on home because you didn't maybe get it repaired properly. So all the things that you had gained had to then be spent on either spouse or on partnership or home, or even mum, really, because of illness or something like that, hospitalization, maybe travel. You didn't have insurance and it cost you more money than it should have done. But that would be the theme. And it might be like there's an issue with like elder sibling, and maybe your spouse or your mum, something like that. But or something like that. It could be like issues with elder sibling as well. But you know, obviously 11th house gets better relationship with elder sibling, and relationship actually with gains and wealth will become better for you as time goes by too, and you invest more time to just have the balance between work, which is also 7th house. You can look at 7th house for work because it's 10th houses from 10th house, and 4th house. So liquid assets will come in, and you could gain something from your mum as well. Okay, so that's it from me. I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.